Hello, hello. With that, my mind started ticking. Props today. Also have a 10-pound weight. These props, get yourself together. Strengthening from the neck, the floor. And we are in a hip width distance here. Settle yourself into the ground. And begin to feel the places in the body that are creating some sort of grounding or contact with the floor. So feel the feet spread. Check in with the back of the pelvis. Notice which parts are touching and which are not. We want to settle our pelvis to the ground, but we don't want to tuck so that our low back is touching the ground. And we don't want to arch so that we're feeling almost towards tailbone touching the ground. It's a wide, flat pelvis. From there, the backs of the ribs are finding their way closer to the ground. The back of our shoulders, our arms, you're going to feel those making contact with the ground. And your hands can either be flat onto the surface of the ground or onto the front of your pelvis. Feel that the neck can be long without touching the ground, and that the back of our skull is resting and settling deeper into the ground. Starting to breathe, inhale. Exhale, melting the flesh. Let this be an opportunity to let everything go. Full enjoyment of this relaxation. Two more times. What else are you holding on to? See if you can release and dissipate these last bits of tension. And as you exhale, you can flutter the eyes open and stare at your ceiling. On your next exhale, we're going to start to apply a little bit of pressure into the back of the head. Take an inhale. As you exhale, press down into the ground with the back of your head to a comfortable place, and then release on your inhale. As you exhale, feel the back of the skull press into the ground as the crown of the head reaches towards the opposite wall, and then release on your inhale. As you exhale and push the head down, can you also soften your sternum so that we're not pushing the head to open the rib cage? This will help to truly strengthen the back body. The ribs start to slide down, sternum softens, back of the head is pressing. Good, one more time. Exhale, pressing the head into the ground. Ribs are sliding down as abdominals connect. Keep that amount of pressure. We're strengthening the cervical spine. We tend to let our heads live in front of our body. So this is a great way to empower the muscles on the back of the neck to help bring the head on top of the spine. Stay here for a few more seconds. This shouldn't be excruciating or too challenging. This is done at the level that feels right for your body. So you may be pressing with 20% of effort and energy, and that's great. Or maybe 40. On your next exhale, start to relax and feel the bones of the neck almost like they're going down towards the ground because they're now relaxed. Put one hand behind the neck. And on your next exhale, when you push the head down, feel what happens to those bones, especially the lowest bone of your cervical spine. C7, sometimes C6, those like to hang back behind us. So as you press down into the ground, feel those bones start to come up into the neck, towards the throat, and they all start to find their alignment. Release, feel the bones, how they sink down into your hand. I'm going to switch hands, take an inhale. We're low on the neck. As you exhale, press the head down and feel the bones of the cervical spine start to come into the rest of the spine. And then release. Feel the bones fall. All right, so now we're going to press our head into the ground and slowly look from side to side. Take an inhale. Find length through the crown of the head. Exhale, press the back of the head down as the sternum stays soft, away from the throat. Now, keeping this pressure, you're going to follow your nose and slowly look to the right, because we are starting to strengthen our cervical spine in each degree of rotation. So when you look to one side for port de bras, it's not that your face is following it. You're spinning your head on your cervical spine. Then keep the pressure. Slowly follow your nose as a guide. So you're drawing a straight line and come back into the center. We go to the other side. Keep the pressure. Start to spin the head. You're spiraling the cervical spine, but the collarbones are wide. So those are an anchor point. And then from the side, make sure we're reaching out the crown of the head. Keep the pressure and slowly walk your vision back up to the ceiling. Good. Release here for a second. We're going to do this one more time on each side with another cue. So when we look from side to side, we tend to just turn our head and that's the direction we're going in. I heard this great cue by a beloved ballet instructor, Sandra Chin, that if we're going to turn our head and look to the left, it's almost like something is coming in to that left side of your ear, and then that's causing you to turn. She was saying like a sound wave. So if a sound wave came into the ear canal, that would help to press that side back while allowing you to spiral and look at the left. You can sit up and try this with me if you're interested. I'm going to do it to the right. But it's like a sound wave. That pressure is coming into the right side, which is causing me to look to the right. And that is a great cue because we are no longer now turning and going forward. We're keeping ourselves aligned in that vertical axis. So when we are lying down and doing this exercise for the second time, feel as though something is coming into the ear and that you're spinning the head on your cervical spine. All right, take an inhale. Untuck the pelvis, ground through the ribs and the abdominals. Exhale, press the crown of the head to the wall and press the back of the head to the ground. Slowly looking to the right because you're feeling the sound coming into the right ear, which is causing you to stay in your center axis as opposed to you going to that right side. This should help take some compression off the cervical spine as well. Coming back to your center, let the right ear sneak out as your eyes come to the ceiling. Other side, the left ear is getting pushed in. You're spinning your head to the other side, strengthening your cervical spine in each degree of rotation. And then as that ear starts to sneak out, you follow your nose, drawing a straight line to the ceiling. Excellent. Shake the head a little from side to side. Nice and easy, letting go of that work. Beautiful. Now we're in our hip width distance here. Let's go for a bridge. Take an inhale. As you exhale, send your sternum down. Let your pubic bone peel towards the lower abdominals. The lower abdominals are making that action happen. And as you peel the rest of the spine off the ground, feel the knees reach out, and we're creating a nice crease right under the butt. Inhale here. Exhale, start from your sternum. Curl through the ribs, through the low back. It's like you're creating the length of the spine as you're putting it down. Then inhale, find neutral. Exhale, press down through the legs. Lower abdominals, peel the pubic bone up towards belly button. Continue your curl. When you get to your bridge, we still have a softness through the front of the body. Inhale. Exhale, curling down. And I'm reaching my knees away from me, smearing my spine down on the ground so I can find maximum length. 2 more times, and then we're going to add that weight or heavy book. Exhale to curl. There's the feeling of hugging your midline. Not just that the legs are pushing in, but that the thigh bones are parallel. So if you're tending to turn out, thigh bones are, for you, feeling like they're internally rotating and coming into your pelvis. And then as you exhale, roll yourself down, connecting the front body. And then inhale, send the pelvis away. Last time, thigh bones plug in. Start to press as you curl. And as you're coming up, the fronts of the hips are opening. The back of the thigh bone is feeding into the hip socket. You're creasing right under your butt. And then exhale, start to roll down. Inhale to neutral. Great. Grab the weight plate or a book. We're going to put it right onto our stomach. And we're going to do that again for 4. Take an inhale. Exhale, begin your curl. Still letting the lower abdominals pick the pubic bone up. So that we're really letting the pelvis be part of this curl. The knees will start to reach out as you plug the back of the thigh bone in. At the top, we're not pushing the weight plate up, we're wrapping around the pelvis and adding that crease of the butt. As you exhale, sternum goes first. Inhale to neutral. Again, exhale, curl. So we're adding the weight to help everything connect. Everything is coming in. When we're hypermobile, it feels like everything is out away from us and it's hard to reel it in. So this is just a way to help give the feeling that everything is intact and working together. Also, it creates a great strength through the legs because of the additional weight. And because the weight's there, you may open that your curl is becoming deeper. So now this next one starts the same way. Curl yourself up. Bring yourself into a place that feels stable, connected. We're going to take one leg off and extend it without letting the pelvis wobble. Right side. Bring it down. Left side. And down. I do have my elbows on the ground here, so there is pressure through the backs of the arms too. That can help this moment if you feel particularly wobbly. As you stand into one leg, make sure it is parallel. Push through the whole foot, but maybe a little bit more with the heel. We're going to do one more on each side. Last one. Take an inhale in the center. Push through the heels a little more. Exhale, roll down. Good, and rest. Beautiful. Put the weight plate off to the side. Roll yourself up. You can stand, and once you stand, I want you to get a sense of what your body feels like, because we just strengthened the entire back chain, which is pretty cool. So the back of the neck has that strength. I feel my head very much on top of my body. And since we kept cueing the ribs softening down, the head going back is not creating this action. It's helping us to stay in alignment. And then you should feel the hamstrings, the glutes turned on, which is a great way to start. So come onto your stool, grab your ankle weights. They are now wrist weights. We're going to put them on our wrists, and we're going to go for a little gyrokinesis. I wanted to strengthen the back body to start, because as we go into gyrokinesis, spinal movements and arm motions, it tends to become very front body oriented. And I really want us to think about this whole back half. And again, the weights are going to just help us have something to work through. It's going to give our hypermobile body a little bit of extra feedback, and hopefully it'll create a plugging in when our arms are up, and we get some strengthening through the back. So that's always nice. All right, let the arms hang by your side. The weights are pulling the arms out of our sockets more than they probably are. So from here, can you already start to plug the arm bone into the socket? And what does that mean? That does not mean that we're hiking the shoulders up. It means that our shoulders are how they are, but the arm bone, once hanging out, is now going to feed into the rest of this chest area. So it's feeding into the socket. I'm able to still keep this width through the chest, and my back is not scrunching to do so. I'm really just plugging it in. So find that place for yourself, especially if it's something you struggle with. Good. Continue that feeling so that when the arms open, they're not reaching out for forever. If anything, it's hugging in with the bones. And once you get that sense of the bones hugging in without squeezing the back, start to then reach through the ends of the hands. So there's a little bit of length happening out, but you're still maintaining the plug. As you exhale, curl and come into first position. As you inhale, expand, opening to your second. You curl, collarbones still keep the width. And same with the shoulder blades. As you open, they don't squeeze, they stay wide. Exhale, starting to curl. And because the weights are on our arms, you'll feel the work happening in different places. I want you to keep your mind's eye on the arm bones staying plugged into the shoulder socket. And we have two different sides, so you have to have two different minds. If you feel your traps that live on top of the shoulders, up towards the neck, working too hard, that means it is. So we want to, again, have the feeding and pressure down. It's light. And then be aware of where your head is in relation to this. If when you curl, your head is going really far forward, those are the traps being like, wait, let me hold on to you. So we're keeping length. We have that memory of the back of the neck being strengthened. So let that happen here. As you curl, you're not letting the head do its own thing. It's part of the spine. It's all moving together. Last one like this. Let's make fists, punch, curl straight down. Spiral the arms, inhale, bring them out to that T. Punch, exhale, curl down. The pinky line is long and scooping as you come up. Long neck as you curl. You're gazing on the diagonal down. And then the eyes start to go forward because this is more of a lengthening moment than an arch, which means we're behind the sits bones for our curl. And as we sit tall, we're right on top of them. 2 more times. Bring the arm bones into the shoulder sockets. Last one. Now bring the arms forward low. Elbows are going to bend. We reach up to a high V. This is an arch, so you're gazing on that high diagonal. And then as you exhale, bring the arms back down. I'm feeding the arm bones into the sockets as I let the arms float up. The shoulder blades are wide and descending. And then exhale, bring the arms down. The head is moving with the rest of the spine. So there's a gazing up. And then as you curl, shoulders come away from the ears, and it's a long back of the neck. 2 more times. Last one. Let the arms float down onto the legs. Great. Walk the legs in a little bit towards each other. We're going to spiral around to the right, and the arm is going to go up on the diagonal. This is a great opportunity for the arm bone to plug in so that energetically you can reach out. And that's our whole goal. If you have hypermobility, your bones need to try to feed in so that you have some feedback in the body. And that feedback is your nervous system then telling your brain, okay, we're good to go. So we want to feed the bones in, and then from there energetically reach out, but not reaching out so much so that our arms are hanging out of the sockets. And the same goes for the legs. So have one hand across the leg. As you spiral to your right, the arm bone stays plugged in. I'm letting my right thigh bone plug into my pelvis a little bit more too, because it's a spiral. Feel the arm bone feeding in, energetically reach through the pinky line. And then as you curl, keep the shoulder connected, let the arm float to the other side. And inhale, spiral, feed the arm bone in. And then exhale, curl. Switch, feeding the right thigh bone into the socket, freeing the neck, and then curl up and over. And feeding the arm bone in, energetically reaching out through the fingers, and then exhale, curl. Let's do one more on each side. There's still that light pressure through the back of the head so that we're turning on our axis. Last one. Start to press your right hand into the left, and we're going to turn to the left. So you press and then swivel the hands. Press and swivel. Exhale. we're going to keep going. The pressure of the hands is helping to relate the connection of the arm bones into the socket. Keep going. Now add in the cue of letting sound come into the ear that you're turning towards. So the head is looking around, the eyes are seeing behind, but it's not because of a crank. So when we turn to the right, feel like the right ear is hearing more and coming into you. Four more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let the arms come down. Inhale. Exhale, press the palms down. Align yourself well. And we're going to let the legs start to widen. Arms find their way to your side. As you inhale, you're going to side shift the ribs. It's not coming from a lean from my pelvis. I'm just letting the ribs shift to the side. Then push down through the sits bones, grow up through the spine. We're creating a lot of space on this side so that when we side arch, we're not crunching that side. We're still keeping length. As you inhale, reach a little more. And then exhale, it's like a sideways wave. Other side, shift the ribs to the left. From there, lengthen up. Let this arm bone find its way into the socket so that when you side arch, it's not because the arm is taking you. It's the torso, it's the body going. The arm is plugged. For your inhale, keep the arm bone plugged. Reach through the rest of the arm a little bit more. And then sideways wave out. So there's a lot of work happening in that shoulder. Shift. Arm bone feeds in as you grow up through the torso. And keep that as you side arch. Keep the arm bone plugging in. Inhale, you can lengthen through the elbow, but don't disconnect. Exhale, wave out. We switch sides. And lengthening up. Feed the arm bone in. Side arch. So there should be freedom in the trap, freedom in the neck. Inhale. And wave out. Last set. This is the hard part. Keep it connected. Yawn and reach from the ribs and from the elbow. And then come out of it. We switch sides. And side. Lengthening up. Side arch. Feed it in. Now as we grow the waist, we can reach through the elbow, but keep the connection of the shoulder. And we come out of it. And bring the arms down. Good. Send the shoulders forward and up. Exhale back and down. 2 more. Good. Settling there. Let's finish this with a few waves. Inhale, growing up through the spine. Let the collarbones widen. And as you exhale, go forward. Plug your thigh bones into your hip sockets. And then as you curl, the feet are in parallel. And it's like you're pulling your stool forward. Grow through the spine. Plug the thigh bones in as you arch. And keep that feeling. Hug the thigh bones into the pelvis so that you are allowing the pelvis to be a part of this arch. And then you curl. It's like you're pulling your seat forward. I'll show the side view. As the thigh bones plug in, it allows your pelvis to arch without your back cranking it. And as you go forward, you keep plugging the thigh bones in so that the pelvis still moves in the arch. From here, we transition to curl. Pull the bench forward towards the feet. Keep curling. Feel the abdominal connection. 2 more times. Thigh bones plug in. As you curl, thigh bones reach out. Scoop the abdominals. Feel both sides actively working. 1 more time. Wave your spine forward with that long back of the neck. Keep the long back of the neck as you curl. The head is not falling towards the ground. If anything, the back of the head is pushing backwards. Sit yourself up, find that neutral position where you may feel like the back of the head is again pushing a little bit back, just slightly. You're not creating a double chin here. You're not jamming the back of the head. We're, if anything, expanding the place between the cervical spine and the skull. So that place is expanding as we are allowing ourselves to feel the pressure through the back of the head. Excellent work, you guys. Take the wrist weights off. Grab your towel, and the wrist weights are now going on to your ankles. This next exercise is based off of what we do on a specific piece of equipment in gyrotonic. And that equipment is called the leg extension unit. So this is a makeshift version for what we can do at home. So you'll grab your towel, you'll roll it up. I like to fold it in half long ways. And then I fold it in half again, just to make the rolling quicker. And then you roll the remaining part. If you're using a gyrotonic stool, turn it sideways. Of course, any other stool, sit how you can sit. We're gonna put the towel at the edge, and when you sit back, the towel will scooch forward a little bit, so it really is at the edge. And that will give us a feeling of the legs being lifted off the ground. And we now have this great bolster behind the backs of the knees. So hopefully this is going to help us not collapse the knees, but to instead strengthen with space. And let's be honest, we already have space in the knees if you're dealing with a lot of hypermobility. So this is a good one for you to feel that connection. So I always like to have my hands on my inner thighs here to make sure that I am hugging in, because what tends to happen is we overwork the outer line and the inner line becomes weaker and weaker. And we can't afford to have that happen with hypermobility. So hug the inner thighs in and then in towards you. So they're slurping to the pelvis. That should help sit you up on top of your sits bones. And then from here, we're going to start with the legs, just doing easy scissors forward and back. We want to just maintain this internal connection while we're sitting up first, because we will go into a curl. And it may feel like the legs are dangling. That's fine. Let them do that. Really put your mind higher up. How can your inner thighs feed up into the pelvis to strengthen that and go up into the pelvic floor and up into the abdominals? Once you feel like you have that, scoop the abdominals and you're going to curl them back a little bit. So I'm just behind my sits bones. Keep the hug. Let the legs go out a little further now. You can touch your quads to feel what's happening. Let's try to smooth it out. So as you're doing this, you're in control of this movement. It's no longer the feeling of that dangle. You're now very much aware that every time the leg bends or extends, We are working the quads as well as the hamstrings, and in this case, definitely putting our mind to this inner deep front line. As you exhale, push the heels out. Point, lower the legs. Let's start with the right. Push down into your towel. Keep that pressure going down and feel the heel reach out. Point. And then as you bend, it's like you're going around this bolster that we created. You're working on the way down as well. Again, push the heel down, push into your towel, keep the push into the towel. It's not about the leg going up, it's about how do you stay connected to the backs of the legs, because this could easily just be a quad exercise. But if you're pressing down, we're now activating more. Lengthen to point, and then expand the knee on either side as you bend, controlling with the quad. 2 more, press down. And as the leg is going out, I'm very much aware that my inner thighs are feeding into the pelvis. Because like I said, we can reach out all day long, but it is not really serving us if you have a lot of looseness in your joints. So now, before we do a few more on that side, align yourself well. Feel both thigh bones plug into your pelvis. Maintain that. Press down. And as the leg goes out, notice what compensations you're doing. We tend to only work that one side. The other side has to work too. Point. And as you bend, the knee can now feel like it's reaching out. Then as you start to push down, hamstrings are connecting. The inner thighs are drawing up. There is a feeling of reach at the heel, but it is not disconnecting me from the work happening in my hip socket. And then let this leg control its way down. Switching sides. Press through the heel. Press in with the hamstring. Scoop the leg out. Point. And then can keep all of this work happening in the quads. So you're controlling the leg back down. Press down through the heel. Press into your bolster. And notice if compensations are happening in other places. The ones that are very common is that we tend to lift one sits bone off the ground, or we tend to shift our ribs to contribute to the pressure down. So see if you can still align yourself well. The upper body is keeping that. The lower body is what's working here. 2 more times. And of course, we're always looking at the alignment of the legs here because we're very much aware that the thigh bone is plugging in. Last one. Good. Scoop the abdominals back. We let both legs do this again with more control. And our thighs are drawing in and out. And as the legs are fluttering, they're not leaving the towel. They're pressing into the towel. Notice when you're here, are you gripping your hips? Can you put the work instead into your abdominals and into your hamstrings as they push down? 3, 2, 1. Flex the feet, reach the heels out while simultaneously pulling the thigh bones into your pelvis. I'm sitting up well with that action. Point and lower the legs. Great. Take your towel out. That looks really nice. We are now going down to the floor. So let's keep the ankle weights on. This next exercise won't use them, but then the ones after that will. So we're on the floor with our mat as well as our TheraBand. The TheraBand is going to go around our back. We're going to put this at 2 different levels. Let's start with a lower level. That is going to be towards the base of the ribs, kind of in between the ribs and the pelvis. And then you're going to put the TheraBands through the hands, and the hands go onto the ground. We're going to go through cat back, and this place where the TheraBand is where we're feeding our curl. Flex the feet. I lied. Point the feet. We're starting with a curl. Point the feet, push down. As you push down through the legs, push down through the arms, and start to curl into the TheraBand. Now with that curl, start to lean it back towards the feet, not all the way down, but keep the curl going there. If you lose it, it will start to fly up your back. And now as you rock forward, tuck the toes, lengthen the spine. Now when we arch, there's the tendency to let this TheraBand pull us into the arch. We are lengthening around the TheraBand as long as you can. This is not the biggest arch you can find. This is the longest, most strongest arch you can find. Press to curl, curl between the pelvis and the ribs, and then send that curl back. We're staying with this work. We're working through control. So there's no quick movements. Everything is thoughtful. As you arch, again, we're lengthening. We're not allowing the TheraBand to pull us into an arch. So there may be a slight resistance. Exhale as you curl. Inhale, transition. Exhale, lengthening your arch. Still having a long back of the neck, collarbones wide. Exhale, curl. Long back of the neck, curl into the TheraBand more than you think you can. And then as you lean that curl back, continue that work. And switching to your arch. Your pubic bone is going between the legs, so the pelvis is able to arch. It should feel nice. One more. You feel the abdominals has to work in a different way to open the back body and to send the curl to that specific spot. And now for the arch, lengthen the abdominals. The base of the abdominals towards the pubic bone goes back. The top of the abdominals towards the solar plexus goes forward. Now, as you come into center, we're going to readjust. This comes up higher into the ribs. Kind of your bra strap area. And everyone has their curls in different spots. For me, I can curl much more in the upper part of my spine than the lower part. So when I do these curls, I'm not going to overfeed myself into that upper part, since I already know that I have more than enough. I had to work extra for that lower part. So if that's the same for you, notice what you're doing here and try to give yourself the curl that your body needs, because that relates to where your abdominals are or are not strong. All right, rocking forward. As you curl, exhale, push the ground away, and still remember where that first TheraBand was. Curl into that as well as the upper part. Inhale forward. Same with the arch. It's not sending you into a bigger arch. If anything, it's helping pull your heart forward. Inhale, center. Press down, exhale. Curl low first, then curl higher. Lean that curl back and strengthen it. Inhale forward. Flex, exhale. Lengthen the pubic bone away from the base of the ribs. 2 more sets. So our goal is to balance out our curl as well as our arch. The same idea here. Some of us have more of an arch lower, some have more higher. We want to even it out. We don't want to continue to push into what we already have, because that's only going to cause injury later. So we want to strengthen what's not and mobilize what's not moving enough. Good. Come into center, take your TheraBand off. You can put it off to the side. We're gonna grab, actually I lied. Grab your TheraBand. I wanna do one more abdominal connector here before we start to go to the ground. So with it in that second spot, higher up, we'll have it in the hands, but now I want you to grab your towel and put it between your legs. This is going to help us connect to our midline. So I'm going to press down into the TheraBand, tuck your toes, and as you hover the knees, hug your towel. I'm in a neutral spine, so I'm not tucking my pelvis, and I'm definitely not arching it. And now each time you inhale, inhale into your TheraBand on your back. As you exhale, hug the abdominals deeper, bring them into you. Now as you inhale, lean back a little, exhale, lean forward. Inhale, go back towards the feet. Exhale, go forward towards the hands. 2 more. Feel the strength of the shoulders. Let it go down, and then rest. That felt significantly hard for you. It may have been in the shoulders. So the idea of the arm bone plugging in should have helped this exercise, because a tendency is for us to go down or for us to over push away and we're in a curl, or our scapula are popping out of our back. So our goal is to find a place where the arm bones feed into the socket, but our shoulder blades are wide on our back. They're not splaying out, they are into our back. So there is a push through the arms that has to happen, but not so much so that you concave. If this is something you're struggling with, feel free to reach out to me. We can make more classes about that, because I know a lot of dancers have issues with that in particular. So now, move your towel out of the way, move your TheraBand out of the way. We're gonna go onto our side. We still have our ankle weights on. You're lying flat on your side. Make sure that that's the case. Sometimes it's hard to feel, so you need to look up at the arm, look down at the legs. And then while you're here, feel that there's space between your waist and the ground, because you are truly long and in alignment. Good. Take an inhale. As you exhale, reach the ear along the arm, crown of the head to the wall. Then as your head starts to lift up, the top leg is going to lift up and you're going to come onto your elbow. Turn the palm so it's forward. As this leg is lifting, it is not lifting from my hips or waist. I really want you to find your hip crease, and that is where the leg is coming from. Let's do this a few times. You're letting the femur glide in the hip socket, which is different than your entire pelvis moving. And in this moment, I'm pushing the ground away, so this side body is strong. Let's do a few more. Keep length through the waist. The femur head glides into the hip socket. And as that's happening, we're strengthening the outer line. 3. Push the ground away. Strengthen the side body. 2. 1. Turn the hand to face side. And as you push the ground away, don't crank into your side body. Strengthen more, and then slide down. Good. We're going to do that one more time. As you exhale, reach the crown of the head to the wall, slide the ear along the arm, and then begin to float up and let both legs now come off the ground a tad. As you keep that, push the ground away.
This leg looks like it's touching the ground, but I am using effort to pull it off, even if it is a little bit. Now top leg, 1, keep pushing, 2, 3, turn the arm. As you press, feel that you're growing. You're internally connecting instead of sinking. And then slide. Good. We're going to switch sides for that one. So there's a lot more work happening here, and we want to find those places. So we're never just sinking, hanging out, forcing. Every moment is an opportunity to connect more. Take an inhale. Exhale, slide the ear along the arm, so you're growing, and only the top leg will lift this first time. Come up onto the elbow. Push the ground away so that you are long in the center and not sinking. From here, hand onto the hip crease. Feel the thigh bone rolling into the socket and back to center. This is what we call femur glide. What's not femur glide is the pelvis lifting the leg. One more. Good. Bring the hand to the side. As you push through the hand, see if you can supple and connect more. Roll the shoulder down the back, slide it out. We do it again. Both legs this time. Exhale, lengthen the crown of the head. Both legs start to hover. You find your spot, you press the ground away. And with this leg, 1. I noticed I was using my pelvis there. 2. The thigh bone only, so it creases right in the hip fold. Let's do one more to feel that. Good. Transition the arm. Push through the palm. Roll the shoulder down the back and slide down. Yes. All right. We go to the first side. Back leg pedal. If you take from me, you know I love this exercise. Similar idea with the pressure through the elbow. Rolling the shoulder down the back so we're connected and our spine is long here. Send the foot forward, flex, sweep the leg to standing body. And in standing body, feel the thigh bone is plugged into the pelvis. Now use your hamstring to press the leg back. You can bring the other hand forward. And as you lengthen the leg, it's going to start to go up on the diagonal point. A long attitude bend. Exhale, let the abdominals contribute to the bringing the leg forward and extend. Flex, sweep. Thigh bone plugs in. So it's not going out, it's plugging in. That is going to give feedback to the rest of our body. Point. Bend. Exhale, keep the long attitude. Curl the abdominals. And then develop pay it forward. 2 more. Push the ground away. Exhale. Last one. Switch sides. My knees are bent in a 90-90 position here. As I push the ground away, the shoulder rolls back and down to connect to the side body and to the back. So we're being stabilized through our serratus and through our lat. Send this leg forward as you keep a very long spine. Flex, exhale to sweep, pull the thigh bone in. Inhale is what brings you into this long attitude. And then as you exhale, curl through the abdominals. Send the leg forward. And sweep. feed the thigh bone in, and then press right under the glute. So that's what's taking you back. Heart is radiating forward. Exhale, curl. So that's a good psoas moment as well. When the leg goes from that long attitude into the curl, the psoas is going to pick up. So the lower abdominals, the psoas starts, that's what curls the pelvis, then the leg comes through. Last time. Good, and rest there. Beautiful. To the first side. We lie down all the way. We send the front foot turned out, kind of an passe moment here. And we're just gonna do a couple of the leg, the bottom leg, going back and front in parallel. Then we'll point and turn out, and we'll go up and down. So parallel, be very clear about what parallel is for you. Make sure the foot is not doing anything funky. Really reach through the heel, but pull the thigh bone into the pelvis. Sending it back, back and center, back, center. Be aware of what's happening with the standing leg. Back and center, back, center. 4 more. Spine is staying long. We're not jutting the ribs or turning the top leg in to go back. Last 2. Last 1. Point, turn out. And up and down. Up and down. Five, 6, 7, last one, 8. Good. We switch sides for the last time. Flexing the foot on the bottom, flexing it well through the heel. You're in parallel on that side. We push it back and center and back and center. Notice where we're giving in to let that leg go back. The range is not as important. Keeping the stability through the rest of the body is going to help this range become greater over time, not because we're pushing it to be more than we can handle. 2 more. Last one. Point, turn out and up and down. Again, range is less important as it is for stability of the overall part or unit of the body. Three, 2, 1. Good. Bring yourself up. Take these off of your ankles. Grab your TheraBand, and we're going to tie it around either your bar, you're going to tie it on a doorknob, whatever you have available to you in your house. Again, if you tie it around the doorknob, you'll do a double knot at the 2 ends. You'll put it on the outside doorknob and then close so that the inside is the loop. Since I'm going to put it here, I'm going to tie it around. Okay. All right, once you have that on, we are going to now put ourselves into the TheraBand. So step through. We're going to turn away from it and finish with some standing waves. Let's go right into first position. And again, your comfy first position, not the first position you force yourself into for class, the one where you feel everything contributing well to standing. So don't look down, maybe. maybe that's a trigger. Don't look down. The thigh bones are wrapping. The calves are spiraling. You should feel the whole foot on the ground. The toes should be able to lift and then put them back down. We're going to start with our waves. Our TheraBand is right in our hip crease. Yes. Take an inhale, push down through the heels, grow up through the spine. And as you plie, start to send your pubic bone back. Long waist in this arch. And then to curl, pelvis is coming down, under and forward. Keep your plie longer than you think you need. Curl where those imaginary TheraBands were on your back. And then push through the legs as you grow yourself up. And then as you go forward, long back of the neck, pubic bone again goes through the legs. You're allowed to have the pelvis in an arch. When you curl, keep the length through the back of the neck. Curl into that first imaginary TheraBand. Then into the second. Keep that going, still in plie. When the pelvis is over the legs, push the ground away and grow up. 2 more times. Curl. The curl is really your strengthening opportunity. You're keeping the curl as your thigh bones spiral. As you curl into that first imaginary TheraBand, into the second. As you're standing, you're pushing the ground away, still spiraling. Last time. This is a nice elongative moment. And then it leads to curl, more of your strengthening, working through the spots that don't move as well. Sip up through the inner thighs as you push the heels down. Good, and rest there. Take yourself out. Excellent work. I hope you feel a little bit more connected. And then I hope that this work helps transition into your class. So we always want to have that feeling that we're pulling our bones into our body, into the socket. When we're tenduing front, we're not reaching for forever. We are drawing our thigh bone into our pelvis. And then it's the work of the lower leg to lengthen out further. So these cues and practices come into the general layout of the class. So I want you to try to find those moments that you can bring yourself together. And of course, trying to do it without a gripping, a locking down of everything, because we want to still be beautiful, fluid, mobile dancers. So thank you so much. I hope that you have a great rest of your day.